Hi, Aqua Roomers. It's time for a picture story. Today, we're reading Ernestine's Milky Way by Carrie Madden Lunsford. And this is a story that happened a long time ago. And this also happened not too far from where I was born and raised. The story takes place in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, and I was raised in West Virginia. It's lots of beautiful mountains there too. It's a great story. And you know how we love it when we look at the end papers and find a big surprise. Isn't that pretty? All right, so here we go. It's a great, great story. Ooh, so beautiful. Deep in the hills and hollers of Maggie Valley, where the sun rose over an old rock house, lived Ernestine, her mama, and their cow, Old Peg. Daddy was off in the war, so it was up to Mama and Ernestine to keep the farm running. Every morning, Ernestine hollered out her window to the Great Smoky Mountains, "I'm 5 years old and a big girl." Then, rain or shine, she and Mama would head off to the barn to milk Old Peg. Later, Mama ladled the creamy milk into her tea and drizzled it over Ernestine's oatmeal. They kept the extra milk cold in mason jars inside the gurgling spring house off the kitchen. So, there was no refrigerator, and a spring house is a place where they can store things a little deep in the ground and it will keep very cold. Oh, and did you know that if you would milk a cow, the top, and let it sit for a bit, the top of the milk, there would be cream. At bedtime, when Mama heated milk on the old wood stove, she'd say to Ernestine, "I'm the Big Dipper and you're the Little Dipper, and way over in Germany, Daddy sees the same stars as we do, up there in the Milky Way." Yes. Then Mama would pat her big belly, and maybe by the time Daddy comes home, the twins will already be crawling. When even a drop of milk spilled, Mama said, "Why, look, it's our own Milky Way." Then they'd cuddle under the quilts, telling stories of stars, constellations, and wandering planets. Oh, they love the stars in the sky. Oh, do you see that instrument? That is a banjo. One day, Mama said, "Ernestine, I need you to do a job for me. Mrs. Mattie Ramsay, who rents the shanty house down yonder, needs milk for her children's breakfast. Their daddy's off to war too. You want me to carry Old Peg's milk all the way to the Ramsays?" "I do it myself, darling, but Dr. Fairchild says I've got to stick close to home with these babies coming." Ernestine jumped on top of the milk pail and stuck her chest out. "I can do it, Mama." "It won't be easy," Mama warned. "Ooh, you'll have to walk through the thickets of crabapple and blackberry by the creek, down the path of prickly gooseberry and honeysuckle, past the vines of clinging bittersweet, into the valley of dog hobble and devil's walking stick and through the barbed wire fence. I can do it, Mama, Ernestine repeated. She climbed down off the milk pail and whispered, I'm 5 years old and I'm a big girl. But did Ernestine tremble a little when she spoke the words? Mm-hmm. Whoa, look at that. Next morning, Mama handed Ernestine up to her blue coat and woolen scarf, and then she gave her the 2 mason jars of milk with the lids screwed on tight. See, Venus, shining up there, she said. That's the morning star. It will light your path as the sun comes up. And so Ernestine set off in the silent dawn beneath a lavender sky. She carried the jars in an old feed sack close to her heart while the mountains slept like giant elephants under a scattering of stars. Just as Ernestine entered into the thicket of crabapple and blackberry, she heard a snuffa, snuffa, snuffa along the path. Could it be a lone wolf rustling up a breakfast of berries? But it was only a family of sleepy skunks trundling single file along the creek's edge on their way home for an early morning nap. I'm 5 years old and I'm a big girl, said Ernestine, tightrope walking across a gnarled log. When Ernestine reached the path of prickly gooseberry and honeysuckle, she heard a fearsome grunt-a-grunt-a-gruntin' in the brush. Could it be a passel of sleek panthers with glistening fangs? Ooh. But it was only a cluster of whistle pigs rooting up a snack of dandelions. A whistle pig is a guinea pig, and they do kind of whistle. Mm-hmm. I'm 5 years old and I'm a big girl, cried Ernestine, stomping down a trail of crunchy acorns and witch hazel. As the sky turned pink above the vines of climbing bittersweet, the mockingbirds chirped. Soon Ernestine found herself in the valley of green dog hobble and devil's walking stick, where she heard a mighty big something scritcha, scritcha, scratching up a tree. Could it be a great big black bear with claws sharp as swords? But it was only a ring of baby raccoons climbing up with their mama. I'm 5 years old and I'm a big girl, yelled Ernestine, ducking as she carefully climbed through the barbed wire fence. Ooh, you'd have to be careful with that. Uh-oh. What a relief to feel the buttery sunshine on her face. But then one of the milk jars slipped from the old feed sack and rolled down the path. She watched it bounce, spin, and twirl as she chased after it, still holding the other jar close to her heart. Over and over and over it went pell-mell, down, 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 down the holler. Ernestine scooted, stretched, straddled to catch that runaway jar of milk, but it vanished without a trace. Miss Mattie Ramsay sat on the step rocking babies as Ernestine made her way up to her shanty, blinking back tears. Howdy, Ernestine, Mrs. Ramsay said. You got something there, my friend? Breathless, Ernestine held up one jar. I brought you 2 jars of milk from our cow old Peg, only I dropped one and now it's lost forever. Ernestine tried not to sniffle as children kept appearing from every which way. An old lady called from the window, "Breakfast! Y'all kids get in here." Mrs. Ramsay answered, "Coming, Auntie Bertie." Then she turned to Ernestine. "Never mind, child. Please eat breakfast with us." So Ernestine went into the kitchen with all the children, and they poured old Peg's milk on their steaming bowls of oatmeal. Yum. Suddenly, the oldest boy, Jimmy, appeared in the doorway, holding something muddy and covered with leaves. "Hey, y'all, look what I found in the creek." And there was the other mason jar, which must have spun so fast down the mountain, landing with a plop in the icy water, that the milk had churned into butter. Everybody cheered as they spread butter from slices of cornbread, and Aunt Bertie sang, "Oh, Lordy, I can't remember the last time I tasted real butter. Thank you, Ernestine. You're a big girl and a good neighbor." When Ernestine arrived home with 2 empty mason jars, Mama kissed her head, hugged her tight, and said, "I'm proud of you, darling. You're my big girl." And every day after that, Ernestine toted 2 mason jars of old Peg's milk to the Ramsay family through the thickets of crabapple and blackberry, down the path of prickly gooseberry and honeysuckle, past the vines of climbing bittersweet, into the valley of dog hobble and devil's walking stick, and through the barbed wire fence. Because she was 5 years old and a big girl, and that's what neighbors do. Isn't that a great story? So did you know that milk can turn into butter if you shake and shake and shake and shake it? I hope you like the story. Bye, Aqua Roomers. Until next time.